Hello, SquirrelTribe. We need a small little break from the news, or at least I do. I'm sure y'all do as well. Talking about Israel and Iran, talking about President Trump, talking about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and everything he's doing to make America healthy again. Talking about the No Kings protest that just went by on June 14th. And now they're saying they're going to have another one on July 4th. Of all days, they're going to have another one of those. I'm tired of talking about ICE and the deportations and everything else. So for today, I want to have a different conversation, and hopefully you guys can help me understand a couple things that I've seen lately that pretty much blows my mind. Now, this is not a race thing. I do want to point that out. I'm not looking at this from a racial standpoint, which needs to be said because a lot of people look at this topic and this kind of conversation from a racial standpoint. But I don't understand kids these days. My husband and daughter and we went out to dinner, I want to say about a week and a half ago. And there's been numerous instances since then that has led up to me going, let me just talk to SquirrelTribe and see what y'all have to say about this because I don't quite understand it. Okay. Our daughter is almost 16 years old. And when she was little, toddler, the 3, 4, 5 stage where kids have a tendency to just dart all over the place. So you really got to keep almost a death grip on their arms or whatever else to keep them from running away, right? We see people out there that put their kids on those little backpacks like a leash. Some people are highly against it and think it's, what's the right word for it? Whatever the word is, I don't really care. They think it's bad to put your kid on a leash, but they're also the same ones that don't want your kid running around. So it's like, which way are you going to go with it? But either way, we're out at this restaurant. We're out at a restaurant, a chicken wing place. Okay. And we're sitting down eating and a very large group of people come in and they go sit in the back near the kitchen and they're on the same side that we are on. And they have a child with them who he had to have been maybe 4 years old at the oldest. I don't think he was younger than 4. I'm pretty sure 4, like right on the dot. The whole family comes in and sits down in the back of this restaurant. And the kid is just kind of moving around all on his own. And the next thing you know, he goes into the kitchen. Here's my question. As a restaurant, what are they supposed to do? As a parent, what are you supposed to do at that point? It's not like you're supposed to go into the kitchen and get him, but also it shouldn't be up to kitchen staff to push your child out of the area where food, hot oil, everything else is being prepared, right? This is not okay. So the kid goes into the kitchen where they're making chicken wings. So, it's the deep fryers and all this other stuff. Goes into the kitchen. The door is still open because somebody catches it as he's going in. They're trying to shoo him out, but they don't want to put their hands on this child to stop him from going into the kitchen because you just never know how people are going to react when you touch their child. So they're trying to do something, but they also can't say, hey, lady or fella or whoever, come into our kitchen and get your child. So they're having to try to scoot him out of the kitchen without touching him while also having people on the outside trying to coerce him out, right? So he finally leaves the kitchen and the staff doesn't say anything because you don't want to start an issue with anybody no matter what. I will say there was a difference in races between the family and the kitchen staff that might have something to do with it. I'm not 100% sure on why people do or do not do the things that they choose to do or not do when it comes to certain situations they may be in. But the kitchen staff never said anything. Management never said anything. The family never said anything, didn't apologize, none of that kind of stuff, and didn't really keep an eye on the kid after that. He was still running all over the place. So there was that instance. Then we went out to dinner last night. Yesterday was my mother-in-law's birthday. We are in Georgia now, and we drove up to Georgia yesterday in the pouring rain, white rain. Like it's so bright out and raining at the same time, you can't see anything. So I like to stay in the left lane so I can be on the yellow line because visually that keeps me going in the correct area versus in the middle lanes where you can't see the white stripes in the middle or the white dashes. That scares me. So I stay on the left side. Anyway, so we're driving through the rain. We get here, we pick my mother-in-law up, we take her out to dinner, and we walk into this restaurant. Nicer establishment, a little bit more expensive than your regular like Chili's or Longhorn or whatever. And we go into this place and we go to sit down, and the very first table that we walk past, they want to sit us next to, and this table is 2 adults who are I would say rather large. I don't know how else to put it without sounding weird. Like, I don't really know how you talk about people's weight because generally speaking, you don't talk about people's weight, especially women. But there were 2 rather large people there who, if they had to get up and chase after a child, pretty much not going to happen. So you have 2 larger people there, and 4 or 5 kids that are pretty much running all over the place around their table. They're not in their seats. They're standing up. There's crayons being thrown and papers and whatever else. And they're right by the front door. So you walk in and you're going in to have this nice dinner at this nice establishment. And the first thing you see is something that looks like it should be at like Cece's Pizza, with the way the table is dirty and there's chairs everywhere. Well, they go to sit us next to this table. There's a high chair in the way, 2 extra chairs. There's all this stuff. And so I asked the hostess, I said, hey, is there any way to move some of these chairs so that we can get in there? Because I don't want to be like right up on this table next to us. So we have to move a bunch of stuff. We sit down. And I know my husband and I across the table are locking eyes going, I really hope they leave soon, because this isn't the vibe that we want to have when we're going out to a nicer dinner. I don't know if that makes me some type of way, but when you know you're going someplace to celebrate an event and it's a nicer establishment, you expect the decor in the place and the patrons in the place to meet a certain level of, what's the right word here? I know I do this a lot, but a certain level of class. There we go. That sounds right. Sounds like an asshole, but it sounds right. A certain level of classiness to them. And the table we were next to did not quite meet up to that. And so it was very off-putting at first. These kids that are all over the place. You have to think, these waiters are walking by with these massive trays above their heads and carrying the little thing you put the tray on. They can't be dodging children who are darting out into the aisle and all this other stuff, knocking over cups, throwing the crayons, things like that. I don't know when taking care of children became something that parents don't want to do anymore. Like, I know there's people out there that legitimately have kids in hopes of making money off of them. There's people out there who legitimately have kids so that when they get older, the kids get older, they can take care of them and the parents don't have to do anything. There are really shitty people out there like that. When I was younger, hell, I'm 43, and if I acted a fool in front of my mom, she'd snatch me bald. Like, this is not something that you do. My Nana, when I was little, I used to spend the summers with my Nana, and because my mom worked during the summers, and instead of going to like a daycare or whatever, I get to spend time with family, which was great. Got to ride my bike around the neighborhood, got to go walk around the mall and the church and play basketball and do all these things with my Nana, which was fabulous, right? But if I was out with her and I would either just even attempt to get mouthy or even look like I was about to make a face, she would grab my arm here and that little pinch would shut me up immediately. 1, because it hurt, and 2, because I knew it meant business. My mom used to do don't make me count to 3. 1, 2, and by 2, I was like, oh shit, she means business. And I would settle down. Kids today, they will cuss back at you. They will throw things at you. They will roll their eyes at you. They will lay hands on you. They will run away from you. They don't care. Kids today, I swear, have no fear of their parents. And I think that's what it comes down to. They have no fear of their parents. My mom used to scare the crap out of me. And my daughter, as much as she and I, the downside for me is I am raising my daughter to be very vocal and independent and question everything, especially authority and stuff like that. And so I am authority. And when she does not agree with something I'm saying, she will question it. But she doesn't do it in a way that's going to make me want to knock her teeth down her throat, right? She questions me back in a way so that she wants to understand why I'm saying something I'm saying, or why I'm telling her she can't do this or whatever else. And as a person who wants their child not to be taken advantage of, I respect when she asks me questions back, especially when I give her answers and it stops everything. And okay, because she wants to understand why things are being done and why things aren't allowed to be done. But that's how I am. Y'all know over here, I question everything. And I think that that's a good thing that she's gotten from me. But at no point in her life, although it's only been, almost 16 years, has it ever occurred to her to curse at me, to try to lay hands on me, to act a effing fool out in public or at home with me. I can raise my voice at her if necessary, and it will stop everything. My husband raises his voice at her and she will immediately start crying. I don't have the tear factor. Like, nothing I do is going to make her cry unless I tell her I'm disappointed in her, which I've only had to do twice in life, and she cried both times. So I try not to use the words, I'm disappointed in you, because generally speaking, I'm not. These were always those 2 times were when she was younger as well. And so we've worked through whatever those issues were. But these kids these days have no respect for their parents. And I feel like it's because a lot of these parents have no respect for themselves. So why should their kids respect them? When you see your mom out at a kid's birthday party, bent over twerking, how are you going to respect that and listen to anything that parent tells you to do? When you see a mom at a tailgate shotgunning beers, you know, and you're like 7 years old, like, to me, there's certain things that parents should not do in front of children of a certain age. And that's not me trying to tell people how to raise their kids, but it's me wondering why people question why kids are the way they are when they're raising them to be the way they are. I mean, it's right. Does that make sense? Okay. So we went to IKEA today. And I told you we're not going to go race on this, but I'm going to call out some races. So we went to IKEA today, and there was an Asian family in front of us, and they were walking in a line like ducks. These kids were between dad in the front, kids, mom in the back. When dad stopped, kids stopped, mom stopped. Conversation was had, dad kept walking, kids followed behind, mom behind. It was literally like ducks in a row kind of thing. Then you have other families, whether they're black, white, Indian, whatever, you have other Hispanic, doesn't matter. You have other families where everybody like scatters. You got parents yelling to figure out where somebody is. You got kids who are mad that, you know, can I get this? Parents say no, and they just throw it on the ground or put it somewhere different or pout or curse or whatever else. And I'm like, what are we doing wrong here? But even not here, because the Asian family was here. What are we doing wrong in our households? Because that's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, people want to go, it's social media, it's the music they're listening to, the video games they're playing, blah, 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 which in actuality makes a massive difference in how people act and are when the parents let those things raise the kids. If the parents aren't there to counteract whatever they're hearing on TV or in music or doing in video games, those kids aren't going to know that these things aren't how they're supposed to be and how they shouldn't model themselves after or behave or whatever else. When you don't have parents who have any morals or any class or any right to be parents, it kind of makes for some shitty kids. It's just, our world is where it is because of the deterioration of the people in it. That's how I feel about things. You look at, I know history repeats itself. I was talking to my mother-in-law last night. She's very, I don't know if I want to say she's very religious or very spiritual, but she does read the Bible on a daily basis. She can quote so many passages. She can understand everything. Whenever I have questions based on religion or faith or whatever else, I ask her, because she is the one person who I know is not going to make me feel stupid for asking questions, is not going to judge me for asking questions, and is going to have the utmost patience with me in the way she explains things to me. And she's not going to explain anything with anger. She's going to explain things in a way that makes sense for me, because she knows me. She's known me for, oh man, I've been in her life since I was 19 years old and her son was 16. So, you know, over half my life, over half her son's life, we have been in some way, shape, or form a part of each other's lives. And so she knows me very well. And when I have questions, I try not to ask them in a way that comes across disbelieving or I want to say sarcastic, but that feels wrong too. Judgy doesn't seem like the right word either. I can't really think of the correct word, but you know how sometimes you can ask a question and it feels kind of off-putting or kind of like, oh, who do you think you are kind of thing? I try not to ask questions in that kind of tone or phrasing or sense. If you've been here before, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what I'm trying to say there. But she will answer every single thing for me. And I don't want to say that kids who grew up without a Bible or without religion or without something like that in their lives or what's wrong with the world, because I didn't grow up with it. I had church stuff in my life when I was little. And then the first time I asked my dad a question and he smacked me in church and told me that I should never question anything, I was like, oh, well, that's confusing for me because I don't understand that. How am I supposed to learn if I'm not allowed to ask questions? And so then I had kind of a separation of self and church, right? But being in my mother-in-law's life, it's made me ask more questions and get back into things and try to learn more things, right? But I think that there are a lot of families out there. There's families out there that are super religious and, you know, are just complete, you know, trash. Like it doesn't matter. I don't think religion determines or belief determines if you're a good person or a bad person, or if you're raising good people or bad people. But I do think that the way that you talk to not just your children, but your spouse, that's a huge one, your parents, and just strangers and people around you in general, I think that really does shape how people are. And And I think maybe that's why my daughter is the way that she is, because she sees me. I call it customer service face. It's not on purpose, but I've been in customer service my entire life. I loved being customer service, and I smile at everybody. Everybody. I say hey to people. I was going to the bathroom at IKEA today, and I saw this guy pushing this cart, and I saw something in front of him that he couldn't see that was going to block his way. So I just ran over real fast and moved it out of the way. And he's like, oh, thank you. I was like, you're welcome. And I kept going to the bathroom. That's customer service brain. Or maybe that's, I don't know what that is. I call it customer service brain because I have a tendency to want to make things easier for people, to keep people from being, I hate it when my brain just goes, you know what? Good luck figuring out this word. I don't like it when people are, yeah, I got nothing. My brain has gone on full hiatus for that one. But either way, my daughter is kind of the same way. She'll see somebody, she'll hold a door. She sees somebody who needs help, she tries to help them. She says hi to people. She smiles at people, even though she's not really a people person. But there's other people out there who are the complete opposite, who are just awful to people for no apparent reason, who will purposely leave things in the way of people, who will see something and just keep going and say nothing, who when somebody smiles at them, just, you know what I mean? What? I don't understand people like that, but I always have to wonder what happened in their life to get them to that point. I want to think that they're not just like that, that maybe they had a bad day, whatever else. And I know we have ventured way far off from the kid running into the kitchen at the wing place, but the state of our world is based on how we treat each other, but also how we raise the next generation that's coming up. I don't like thinking of it like that, though, because if you look at the people that are out there right now that are convinced that they need to have gender mutilation because they're in the wrong body, their parents are my age or a little bit younger. And I have to go, what happened to you that didn't happen to me? Were we not watching the same cartoons and TV shows? I didn't see any of that shit when I was younger. Why is this a thing now? I'm very confused on where the younger generations are being led by their parents, by media, by whatever. But if they're being led by media, it means they don't have parents who are steering them back in the right direction. Again, it all comes down to what happens in the house. At the end of the day, every single thing comes down to what happens in the household, whether it's with your parents, your providers, whoever it is that you're with. It all comes down to that. Who you surround yourself with determines how you are in life, positive and negative. You have to look at it that way, positive and negative. You can have, there's a whole thing, 2 brothers, 1 dad, okay? Where the dad was, let's say, I think the one I read was dad was alcoholic and used to beat the kids, the boys. And so both boys grow up. One of them grows up to be just like the dad, alcoholic, beating his children. The other one did not like what he experienced and what he saw with his alcoholic, abusive dad. So he grew up to never take a drink and never lay a hand on anybody. Exact same nature. What is it? So that's what it is. Nature versus nurture, right? But exact same nature, but it nurtured them in 2 completely different ways. So then I've talked myself into a whole just conundrum up in my brain here. Cause how do you determine how people are going to be and how to raise them right? Cause you can raise somebody right and then they turn around and they're a serial killer. Is it all just predetermined, pre-wired in a person's head and however you take care of them doesn't matter? Or does that actually help shape them? I feel like if my husband and I were complete just trash parents who never paid attention to our kid, never had conversations with her, never did whatever, that she wouldn't be who she is. I think because of the way we interact with her, she is who she is. We went to lunch today. We sat outside. We went to this place called Bar Taco. It's one of our favorite places in Georgia. And it's only in Georgia as far as I know. So whenever we come here, we have to go there. It's like a tapas place. You order on a QR thing, which a lot of people don't like. But I like it because I can see all the pictures and whatnot. So we go to eat. Our daughter picks sitting outside. So we sit outside. And we sit there and we talk to her about college. Do you want to go to it? If you do you know what you want to go for? Okay, well, if you want to go for this, do you know exactly what it takes to get here? And so we have these conversations at 15 and a half years old that some parents have never had with their kids at any point in time. I don't know where I'm going with this. All I know is that kid running into the kitchen, and then the kids last night, and then just random kids that dart out in traffic and don't pay attention. All all of it bugs me. I don't know. Maybe it's my perimenopause brain. Maybe it's the mini Karen in me. Maybe it's just being a parent. And then I told my husband, I said, where is the line on strangers interacting, right? The table next to us last night, the kids doing whatever they were doing. If it had moved over into our section, if they had bumped into my daughter, if they had done anything, if a crayon had come flying my direction, how vocal am I as a stranger and non-parent of these children allowed to be before it's considered overstepping my boundaries or their boundaries because they aren't my kids, but now you're in my space. I overthink way too many things. In case you have not figured that out in the time that you've been part of the Squirrel Tribe, I play what if in my brain all the time. What if? And I do whole scenarios, and I ask so many just questions that don't really have a big answer to them. I do it here with y'all all the time too. But I know I'm not the only person who has these questions and these thoughts. I just have the ability to hit record and vocalize them because y'all are my therapist and I love you for it. Thank you so much. But I want to know what, like that TV show. What would you do? Have you seen that TV show? That show, every time I see it, I get aggravated. Because I'm like, here's what's going to happen. That's going to happen somewhere where I'm at. And I'm going to step up. But I don't know if it'll be good for TV or not, because I use choice words. I don't know, I'm not supposed to. And I'm very vocal in certain things, right? But then you see these things happening in real life and people just walk right past it. But when it's a TV show, sometimes it always works out. Anyway, y'all, I got nothing else. It was bothering me. Little bitty things bug the crap out of me, as you've noticed over Squirrel Tribe lifetime. I think we've been here 3 years, we said. February 10th, 2022. Somebody pointed out is when we started this, and there's been a lot of ups and downs on this channel. But the one thing that has been consistent is me not understanding why our society is the way our society is, when we know if we would just tweak a couple things, we could have a much safer, saner, happier society, yet it doesn't ever happen. Anyway, we have another dinner tonight with my mother-in-law for her birthday, because now my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are back in town. So we're all going out tonight. So that's why I have clean, straight, dry hair instead of a bun. Yeah. Anyway, that is all, y'all. I got to go get ready for dinner now. I love you immensely. Thank you for letting me have the most random conversation ever in the history of conversations with you. Also, completely off topic, but if you want to, at the end of this video, there'll be somewhere like down in here, another video you guys can watch if you have any interest in what's coming up with the changes to Medicare in 2026 and 2027. I covered it a couple of days ago, and if you didn't see it and you're interested, it'll be somewhere in here. Make sure you check it out. Besides that, I'll see you guys again tomorrow at some point. I love you very much. Have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye-bye.